Now that we've worked together to create Twitter accounts, we need to think about how to access the information on Twitter that is going to be meaningful to us in our learning. One of the concepts we need to understand is that Twitter works by following people, and we get the information that those people then post on Twitter. So thinking about who you follow and how to build a really rich Twitter feed becomes very important. Now, that rich Twitter feed will develop as you spend more time on Twitter and read things that people are posting, and then you're able to follow people. But we want to be able to build a fairly rich feed right from the start. So let's look at one way of doing that, and that's by following lists. I'm going to start with Doug Peterson's Twitter page because I know that Doug does a lot of work in trying to connect Ontario educators. When I look across the top of his Twitter profile, I notice that he has something called lists. When we look at his lists, we'll notice that he's collecting Twitter accounts that follow different categories. One of the things that he does is collect Twitter accounts of Ontario educators. So when we look at one of his lists and open it up, you'll see that this one has 578 members. What we see first are the tweets from people that are on that list, but we're really interested in who's on the list and who we might want to follow. So if we choose over here on the side, list members, it will create the list of people that are being followed on that list. So then we can choose whether or not we also want to follow those people. So when I look at this one, it's an elementary occasional teacher for GECDSB. I might want to first look to see how many tweets that person has put out there and when the last tweet was. So this one is a little bit old. It's August 17th, but I might be really interested in something like this. So I might decide that this is somebody that I do indeed want to follow. And now all of those tweets will end up in my Twitter feed. So I can do that for all of these people, knowing that Doug's already done the groundwork and has decided that these are Ontario educators and they might be really interesting for us to follow. Now, if I'm really interested in leadership, I might look at the Twitter account of a superintendent like Sue Dunlop and then check to see what kinds of lists she's created to aggregate Twitter users. And when I go in here, I see that Sue has a list called EdAdmin, those involved in educational administration that she's collected. So when I click on that list, I see all of the tweets by the EdAdmins in her list to start with. Then if I go to the list members, once again, I'll get the list and I'll be able to decide whether or not I also want to follow the people that are on that list. So it's a great way to start building a really rich Twitter feed very, very quickly when you first get onto Twitter.